The TrekWorks YouTube channel is sponsored by Tenant Controls, makers of lighting kits, soundboards, and more. Tenant Controls brings your models to life. And by HDA Model Works, suppliers of scale model lighting products, detail parts, and complete model kits. Visit HDAModelWorks.com today. Hi there again, everybody. Boyd here with you. Well, here we are again with part 4 of our Bismarck updates, and a lot more done this time around. Big difference you can see here is I decided, after a lot of deliberation and talking about it and going back and forth, that I decided to put the swastikas on the deck. I still believe in the theory that they were painted over. In fact, I was reading some reports from kbismarck.com from some of the action reports that they were talking about from the operation at sea, from Operation Ranjubung, just before they left Norway and went out to sea on the Battle of the Denmark Strait against the Hood. They mentioned doing some painting on the ship. They were actually trying to paint when they were at sea too, and a lot of the paint was getting washed off before they could even finish it, so they kind of gave up on it. But went ahead and put them on. I had the decals anyway, so thought might as well go ahead and use them. But we've got a lot of work done on the superstructure of this thing now, a lot more. We have all the secondary guns put on. We have all the captain's yachts and jibs and all that put on now. Some of the rigging has been done. You can see around the masts and everything. The main masts are put on. So it's really starting to come around. Now I'm starting to go in and put all the small little detail stuff on the model now. You can see up here we've got some of these little fire hoses and stuff like that. Little details going on up around here in these little spots on the superstructure. Just, you know, tiny little stuff. We've got the longboats there with their oars, photo etch oars and everything put in. And so it's all working out really good. It's just going to be a kind of a quick update here. Starting to work on the hull now a little bit here. I've got the propeller shafts mounted and everything. Probably put the propellers on towards the end. We've got some details that need to go on along the sides here. These kind of boom assemblies that would swing out when they would grab a seaplane or a boat would come up alongside. We have that both front and rear that we have to put that detail on. Got these swing out bridge walkway extensions here on the port and starboard put on. I'm going to be putting the platform up on top of that and then doing the photo etch railing for that here coming up pretty shortly. But just everything's, you know, working together really nice. Like I said, since the last video, it's going to be a lot of just really small, tedious little stuff that's going to go on it now. The rigging went fairly straightforward. Going around looking at the various builds of this model, there's everything from no rigging at all to like a whole lot of rigging, where I think more rigging that was actually on the ship. I just basically went by the Revell instructions on where to put the rigging on this. Everything's mainly centered around the kind of midsection of the ship, but I've seen models where they've got the rigging running all the way up here to the bow and all the way to the stern and all that, and I have never seen any pictures of the Bismarck where it had that kind of rigging on it. It was all pretty much centered around the middle part of the ship here, around all the superstructure. So I'm just going to kind of go with a happy medium on that. I'm using this easy line, you know, the stuff that I talked about. It has a little bit of tension on it. Just you know, all you need to do is just put a tiny little dab of CA glue and touch it on there and just hold it there for a second or two, and it's pretty well locked down. And you go to the other end and do the same thing and let go. You just have a little bit of pressure on there. It puts a little bit of pressure on the masts and everything, but if you balance it out right, it works out pretty good. I think if I was to do another one of these again, I would go ahead and spring for the brass masts for it. They would be a little bit stronger and everything. You know, once you get up that high and get that thin, they start to get pretty weak. You know, so they're okay, but if you ever to bump them or anything like that, I'm sure they'd break pretty easy. But got a little flag on there and everything. They would only fly that one flag when they were at sea. When they were, you know, in port and things like that, they would fly all the main colors all over the place. They would have the one at the stern, the one at the bow, and all that. But when they were at sea, they just had that one little Kriegsmarine flag flying up there on top. So that's what we went with. I like to build these models kind of when they're, you know, in the at sea look without the you know, stairwells attached on the sides, the boarding platforms and all that. So, but anyways, it's coming along really good. The next time you see it again, it'll have more of the small little tiny stuff put on it. I want to get all that kind of worked in. I've got both of the jib cranes built now. All that's been done. So some of the little smaller cranes there for the light boats and stuff have been put on. But it's just, like I said, those little small hose reels, little small anti-aircraft guns. We've got all the main searchlights put on here now. You can see this. She has a total of, let's see, it has 2 there at the stern, 2 there, 2 inside the hidden clamshells, and 1 up at the front here. Now, I didn't mention before when I talked about the lighting, this one up here is going to actually light. I have it on a separate circuit. It's going to be hooked up to a little control board that's going to flash Morse code when I hit the button on my remote. I forgot to mention that in the lighting on the last video, but all the other lighting on the ship's going to be static with these window portholes and everything. Got the 2 main rear turrets built. Still got to put on the photo etch detail parts on those, but they came out real nice. So, and all the 5.8 inch secondary guns are done. Some of the small anti-aircraft guns, I think those are 10 centimeter guns, and the housings that hold them are all done. So coming along real nice. Like I said, I'm just putting in an hour or 2 on it in the evening, a couple nights a week, and it's, you know, it's moving along faster than what I thought. We still got a big project though, and that's going to be putting on all the railing. That's going to take probably a good couple of weeks just in itself. You know, all the photo etch is going to have to be bent and everything and shaped. As I talked about, I'm going to use some of the photo etch and some of the kit railing. In some places, the kit railing I think looks better because it's more tubular shaped, and the photo etch is just basically flat. So we'll see what we come up with on that. I'm definitely going to use the photo etch railing all the way around, you know, for the main handrails on the edges of the deck, because that stuff was really, actually really thin and flimsy on the real ship. It was just some posts with some cable strung in between it, you know, not actual hard rails that were on there. And they're pretty much all gone off the ship on the wreck now. There's not any of them left, so it must have been pretty flimsy stuff. But anyway, that's how she's looking, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little update. I'll be back again probably after another several days here and show you some more. Okay, so really pleased with it, and I'm already starting to gather up and think about the parts and everything I'm going to need for the HMS hood kit. I'm learning a lot from building this one about what to do and what not to do, and make some improvements on the hood. Like I said, I'm definitely going to go with brass masts on that one. It'll just be, you know, stronger and everything, and a little bit, you know, I think it'll pay off in the end getting those. Of course, we're going to do the wood decking and all that and get some photo etch parts for it, but we'll see what we come up with, guys. Doubt I'll find as good of a deal as I found on this when I got everything all in one shop. At least I know where to look around for everything now. Okay, guys, that's a wrap for this one. I hope you enjoyed the little update here, kind of a quick one. We'll be back again in a few more days and show you some more. Take care out there, and happy modeling, everyone.